We are going to get started here. So, thank you everyone for joining us for Global Leadership in Action, a conversation with Jill Tracy, presented by United Planet. This session will share insights from her journey across sectors and continents, reflecting on the values of ethical leadership and cultural fluency and purpose driven business. If you're interested in learning more about United Planet and their exclusive program scholarships, you can find more information on the BGS website. So, our speaker for today's webinar is Jill Tracy. She's the CEO of United Planet, a global nonprofit organization dedicated to fostering cross cultural understanding and advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Jill's career has been shaped by immersive international experiences, from serving as a Peace Corps volunteer in Paraguay to studying and working in Brazil and Spain. With over 2 decades of executive leadership at Microsoft and an MBA from the Thunderbird School of Global Management, Jill brings deep expertise in global strategy, ethical governance, and social innovation. Please join me in welcoming Jill.
All right. Thank you, Matt. And hello, everybody. Welcome. It's so great to see people from all over the place joining, all over the US, and shout out to Switzerland and everywhere else. Thanks for that beautiful introduction, Matt, as well. And thank you to Beta Gamma Sigma leadership and members of Beta Gamma Sigma for inviting us to share in this session with you today. We're excited about the partnership between Beta Gamma Sigma and United Planet because really at our core, we share a powerful synergy. Both of our organizations are deeply committed to global leadership, ethical engagement, and experiential learning. Together, we empower emerging business leaders like all of you to become globally minded change makers, connecting academic excellence with real world impact across cultures and communities. In today's session, I'll share a bit about United Planet's mission and programs and also reflect on my own journey from 2 decades at Microsoft to a decade in nonprofit and social enterprise leadership, and how language, culture, and service have shaped my path and continue to inspire my work to build a more connected and compassionate world. And I'd like to invite you all to explore how your own path might lead you to become a globally minded change maker. After I share about my journey and reflections, the team and I are excited to share with you an exclusive offer for Beta Gamma Sigma members, so stay tuned for that near the end. But first, I'd love to introduce to you all our United Planet team members who are on the call with us today. Sofia Hernandez, who's an international programs and partnership manager based in Honduras, and Melissa Lewin, international program coordinator based in South Africa. So let's get away from Sophia and Melissa. Thanks for joining, guys, and they'll be sharing some updates with you as we go through our session today. But first, let me share with you a little bit about United Planet. So I served on United Planet's board of directors since 2023, and then I became CEO of United Planet on January 1st of this year. It's been an amazing journey. United Planet is a global nonprofit organization working at the powerful intersection of language, culture, and service. Since 2001, United Planet has connected over 10,000 volunteers and interns with communities in more than 40 countries around the world, building a global community one relationship at a time. Our programs support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals with impact areas that include education, global health, environmental conservation, gender equity, and peace building. Through immersive experiences and meaningful partnerships, we empower individuals to become change agents across borders and cultures. And this is a view of our team. This is our truly diverse and international team that helps us make our impact every day. They span time zones and continents from the United States to Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East, and beyond. And our multicultural staff bring a rich variety of lived experiences, language fluency, and cultural insights to every aspect of our work, spearheading United Planet's programs by building strong relationships with local communities co-designing service opportunities that reflect local needs, and ensuring that every internship and volunteer experience that we orchestrate is grounded in mutual respect and cultural humility. That's super important to us. And this is just a quick glimpse into United Planet's core programs. We have kind of 4 different buckets of program areas. So they're designed to foster global leadership, cultural understanding, and meaningful service through immersive, accessible, and transformative experiences. At the heart of United Planet's mission, up in the upper left quadrant, are Quest programs that connect individuals with communities in over 40 countries for both short and long-term individual and group volunteer and internship placements. And in those experiences, we engage hands-on in service aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And I talked about what those initiatives are across education, global health, et cetera. And the programs are deeply relational. We emphasize mutual learning and cultural exchange with the local communities. They're immersive, transformative experiences that build the kind of leadership the world needs really right now: agile, inclusive, and globally fluent leadership. The second quadrant on the right is the Unite All Schools initiative, and that brings global learning into classrooms by connecting students and educators across countries through structural virtual exchange experiences. And then in the bottom left quadrant, we offer other kinds of virtual exchanges and remote internships that also transcend borders. These programs allowed our participants to collaborate with international partners, nonprofit organizations, local communities to develop cross-cultural competencies and contribute meaningfully to community-driven projects from their own homes. So from their laptop, from the local cafe, you can make a difference. And finally, in the bottom right quadrant, we've got the Seminar in International Service Learning. And that's a program that we're offering this January in Quito, Ecuador. It's an academic seminar that offers scholars and practitioners a deep dive into theory and practice of ethical global engagement. So as I mentioned, it's in January 2026 in Quito, Ecuador. And if that's of interest to you, registration is now open, and we'll close registration for the seminar on November 14th. So sign up now if you are interested in participating in the Seminar in International Service Learning. So I'm going to hand it over to Sophia to share a little bit about United Planet's 5 pillars of global citizenship. Sophia?
Thank you, Jill. So, United Planet proprietary formula for global citizenship is built on 5 interconnected pillars that guide every program, partnership, and participants' experience we offer. These pillars reflect our commitment to cultivating ethical, empathetic, and action-oriented global citizens. And they include global understanding, civic engagement, academic and professional competency, global leadership, relational diplomacy. These pillars foster deep respect for diverse cultures, traditions, and perspectives, and emphasize reciprocal service where volunteers and hosts communities co-create solutions, share knowledge, and learn from one another in ways that honor dignity and agency. Together, these 5 pillars from the foundation of United Planet transformative model equip individuals to grow as change makers who build a more just, peaceful, and connected world.
Thanks, Sophia. And these 5 pillars we share in every one of our engagements that we offer in all of our programs. So everybody who participates in our United Planet programs engages across these 5 pillars of global citizenship and really build competencies across these areas that we believe are so important for being a really great global citizen. Thanks, Sophia. So in a time of global division and disconnection, really intercultural literacy is essential. When you volunteer in other countries, learning to speak another language, spanning cultures, and serving with empathy, you become diplomats, business leaders, and policy shapers that our world really needs. And I was doing some research, and I found some recent research in global citizenship education and social cognitive career theory, it shows that people who are aware of global issues are far more likely to engage in social justice and sustainable development efforts. And there's a practical benefit too. One study found that students who volunteer or study abroad earn over 6% more than their peers in their first job after graduation. It's really important. Global citizenship competence is a powerful advantage. It shapes your career, your character, and your capacity to lead in a connected world. And I am a testament to that. So with that, we're switch gears and talk a little bit about my experience, because you'll see that I am the living, example of what United Planet and this research that I just shared with you represents. So I'm going to share a little bit about my own personal and professional journey and my reflections on the values of ethical leadership, cultural fluency, and purpose-driven business. And you can see some pictures here to give you a taste of the journey we're about to embark on. So first of all, I come from humble roots near Chicago. I'm the first in my family to pursue higher education, both a bachelor's degree and an MBA, and I'm also currently pursuing a PhD and having a professional career. So really a first gen person in my family to even travel outside of the US, quite honestly. So very humble roots in the Chicagoland area. Shout out to Chicago. I currently live in Seattle, by the way, and I've been living here for the past 20 something years. But way, way, way back, let's go way back in time to 1988. I know that might be before many of you were even born, but I was in high school at the time, and at the age of 17, I had the amazing opportunity to live and study in Brazil for a year as a Rotary International exchange student, which really opened my eyes and formed in me the desire to help others, build bridges of understanding, learn about other cultures and learn other languages, and just travel for the rest of my life. That dipping my toe into the global sphere really opened my eyes to there's a big, big world out there and so much opportunity. So I am forever, forever grateful for this letter that you see a picture of. I still literally have this piece of paper at home because it represents a turning point in my life. So in that year that I lived in Brazil, I lived in Curitiba, Paraná, which is down in the south. You can see on the map, it's that little star in the bottom right corner of the image there. And that's where Curitiba is. And I lived with Brazilian families. I attended school at Colégio Positivo. I learned to speak fluent Portuguese in 1 year, and falo ainda português. I'm still fluent after all these decades, and it's my first foreign language and my favorite foreign language, one of my favorites. And more than that, I learned to see the world with literally new eyes. That year in Brazil completely changed the trajectory of my life. And I knew after that year in Brazil that I wanted to continue to be a global citizen. I wanted to continue to explore the world and build bridges of understanding. And so I came back to the US and I went to Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go Marquette, I love it. I graduated magna cum laude from Marquette, where I had the opportunity also to live and study in Spain for 6 months. I lived in Sevilla in the south, and I traveled throughout Europe and North America. At that time, it was 1992. And that was another amazing experience that opened my eyes even more to the world around me. And it deeply impacted my life and my worldview. And I engaged in numerous volunteer experiences and internships as well throughout my time at Marquette. After living in Brazil, I really wanted to give back and make my life as positively of an impact on the world as I could. I felt like I had privileges of being just through the luck of my birth, being born in the US, that I felt a moral obligation really to use my life to give back and do something good and positive in the world. And so I was volunteering throughout my time at Marquette. I spent a summer also studying at the United Nations in New York, which further impacted my global experiences and outlook. And it was just a life-changing, another big life-changing experience for me. And then after I graduated from Marquette, you know, like I said, I wanted my life to be something of service to others. I wanted to continue to use my life as a way to help people in other countries who maybe don't have the same opportunities that I had just by the luck of my birth of geography. So I decided to serve in the Peace Corps. I applied, I was accepted, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And they sent me to Paraguay in South America. And I served in a little area called Itacurubí de Rosario, right in the middle of the country of Paraguay. And I worked with local families and communities on agriculture extension. I did sustainable organic farming, agroforestry, beekeeping, gardening, crop diversification, many, many projects. I learned to speak the beautiful indigenous language of Guarani, Anye e Guarani me ipona tere haihu Guarani. It's a gorgeous language. It's the indigenous language of Paraguay, and they have two official languages, Spanish and Guarani. And so I already spoke Spanish because of my undergrad time and my time in Spain, spoke Portuguese. So then I learned Guarani, and I learned also, in addition to the language, about the value of service as a way to build strong bonds with local communities and build lifelong friendships. And I ultimately lived in Paraguay for 4 years. I served 3 years in the Peace Corps. Normally it's 2 years, but I stayed a third year, continued serving in the Peace Corps. And then I stayed a fourth year and I started a social enterprise, growing and exporting a local native crop. As I had mentioned, I worked with the farmers on crop diversification, and I discovered a local crop that's native to Paraguay. In Guarani, it's called ka'ahe'e, which means sweet herb. It's an all-natural, calorie-free sugar substitute plant that's 300 times sweeter than sugar. Nowadays, we're more familiar with the sugar substitute as stevia or stevia, and it's now literally the most popular all-natural sugar substitute in the world. But it didn't get USDA approval, or the FDA approval, until 2008. So I was about 10 years too early with my stevia, my stevia business. So I worked super hard for a year with local investors, local Paraguayan producers of stevia all over the country. And we were exporting it mostly to Japan, because Japan at that time was using it as their #1 sugar substitute. Even Diet Coke had stevia as their sugar substitute in Japan back in the late 90s. But it was super hard at the time to break into the US and even European market. So after a year of building up the business and setting up the exporting to Japan and Australia and locally in Brazil and Argentina, then I decided it's time to come back to the US after 4 years, and I'm going to go study business, because I had been running a business, and I at that point realized the value of business to open up opportunities, microfinance, business, all of that, for opening opportunities for people all over the world to kind of leapfrog and get into a different place in their lives. So that really crystallized during my time in Paraguay. And then I decided to come back and pursue my MBA and learn what I didn't do right or what I did do right in my own business journey. So I earned an international MBA at Thunderbird School of Global Management, which at the time was ranked #1 in international business. It's in Arizona. It's now affiliated with Arizona State University. And during my MBA studies, I also interned at Accenture, and I did other consulting jobs. And then I graduated in 2002. And later that year, I joined Microsoft, where I worked for 21 years in a variety of global leadership roles, spanning, and you can see on the slide, I kind of went in reverse order from retired from Microsoft. So if you start at the bottom, you can see kind of the career progression. But I started in global operations, first in our Latin American operations. I was in Brazil literally every other week, a week in Seattle, a week in Brazil. It's a long commute. I don't recommend it. But I was doing that, a week in Brazil, a week in Seattle, for about the first 6 months. And then it became 2 weeks every month. And then it became weekly every 3 months. So it got better over time. but it really was exciting. And then I was all over Latin America. And then I moved into the Worldwide Partner Group, and then I was managing our partnership with Dell. So everything Microsoft Dell, I was at all of our events all over the globe. I did marketing roles, I did product management roles, I did sales. My last role was Director of Global Sales Operations for our Dynamics business. And so I never imagined that I'd be at the same company for over 2 decades, but actually being at a company as big as Microsoft, when you switch teams, it's like going to a whole other company. There's a whole different culture, all different people, and it's an amazing experience. And the time really flew by. So, 21 years went in a flash. And I learned so much. I was able to make a huge impact. And the most exciting roles I had, well, all of them were global. They were all very entrepreneurial, very creative, very impactful. I launched new products. I improved processes and drove really big results. Like some of our targets were in the millions and then in the billions. And I led global teams and traveled all over the world, circumventing the planet many times and having 3 daughters throughout that whole process. So it was quite exciting. So all of these amazing global experiences really prepared me to listen deeply, lead cross-culturally. And in 2001, I married my husband, who's a biomedical engineer. He's from Jordan in the Middle East. And together we have 3 lovely daughters. They're now 18, 16, and 14. So because of them, I've been a Girl Scout troop leader for the past 13 years. I'm also a member of my local Rotary Club, and I serve on the board of the local high school dance team as well, because I don't have enough to do. I left Microsoft in 2023 to pursue a PhD in leadership and change at Antioch University, where I'm still pursuing that. I'm in my 3rd year of the program. I'm preparing to start working on my dissertation. Hopefully that will kick off I'm hoping within the next 6 months or so, I'll get the dissertation started. And that's focusing on women in global leadership. And then I joined the board of directors of United Planet in 2023 when I left Microsoft and started my PhD. And then I became the CEO in January of this year. And it's been an amazing experience leading such an awesome global nonprofit organization that positively impacts communities all over the world. And a shout out to United Planet's founder, David Santulli, who retired. And when I joined the board, he approached me and said, well, if there's anyone who would be a great successor for leading this organization, it would be you. And really, because if you look at my background and you look at what United Planet stands for, it's a one-to-one match. It's really serendipitous how that all happened. So really reflecting back, this slide is the reflection slide. And I would say one of the most powerful lessons I've learned on my life journey is that immersing yourself in other cultures can really profoundly reshape your life path, as it did for me. And when I reflect on my own experiences and United Planet's mission, I see a shared purpose of building bridges of understanding, dismantling barriers, and opening doors to opportunities we might never have imagined. And in today's polarized world, global service and the ability to connect across cultures and languages is a form of transformational leadership. The journey to becoming a global change maker starts with a choice to lead with curiosity, courage, and care. And so now, with all of that, I would love to if we can save questions for the end, because I want to share with you through Sophia and Melissa. They have some exciting opportunities and ways for you all as Beta Gamma Sigma members to participate in global transformational leadership opportunities as well with United Planet. So I'd love for them to share that, and then we can pause and do some Q&A and talk about any of the topics that we're sharing with you today. So with that, I'm going to first hand it over to Sophia to talk about our our internship and volunteer opportunities that we have special for you all at Beta Gamma Sigma.
Yeah, so
Sophia.
thank you, Jill. As United Planet, we are proud to offer a wide range of internship and volunteer opportunity, both in person or virtual. So these are designed to give you a meaningful experience around the world. So we are especially excited to share with you this exclusive scholarship for Beta Gamma Sigma members. So as you can see, these are three different options, two for students and one for alumni. So you can reach out us through email. If you want to have a Zoom call, we can go deep in your experience, also your expectations or goals, and we can match you or see what is the perfect program for you. We have like 4 weeks to 6 months, even a year if you want to do so. But yes, those are our scholarships. So
Thank you,
let us
Sophia.
know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Reach out, please. And she's Sophia Sincere. We would love to talk with you and shape the opportunity that makes the most sense for your career trajectory or your personal life journey. And we have so many different options. It's just really a plethora of amazing experiences that we offer. And we're so happy to be able to offer these scholarships to Beta Gamma Sigma students and alumni. And with that, the other big announcement that I wanted to share is I'm handing it over to Melissa to share with you about an amazing United Planet business immersion quest that we have designed and created with a special offer for Beta Gamma Sigma folks, early bird special. So listen in, and Melissa will share with you about this exciting opportunity. Melissa?
Thank you, Jill, and welcome to everybody. It's so nice to see that there are so many people on the call today. As Jill has mentioned, we have tailored out a quest specifically for Beta Gamma Sigma. It's a 10-day quest to South Africa, Cape Town, and the dates would be from August 23rd to September 1st, 2026. And this quest is designed specifically for business students and alumni. Part of the quest, part of immersing yourself in the business sector in Cape Town, there is also an opportunity to explore Cape Town as well as have a wonderful experience seeing the big five safari animals. So, yeah, so Cape Town, why Cape Town? And you can ask yourself this question about any country basically in the world. But why Cape Town? Cape Town offers you the opportunity to make a meaningful impact, to learn many things about the business sector, and also to explore all of the beautiful places that Cape Town has to offer. It is truly an amazing destination and one of the most beautiful that I can say in the world. So the nonprofit organization that you will be working with is called Pelisa Abafazi Betu, and this means Heal Our Women in isiXhosa. isiXhosa is one of the 9 official languages in South Africa. It's a lot. But you won't have to worry about language. Everybody does speak English, so nobody's going to be trying to communicate with you in isiXhosa and you won't know what is going on. So everybody speaks English. Um, Lucinda Evans has started this organization in 2008. She offers a wealth of wisdom when it comes to starting up a nonprofit organization as well as running it smoothly and expanding it to what it is today. So she started out of the garage at her a place of residence, so her home. And from there, she has really transformed this organization into a multi-service organization. So part of the quest, we kind of um, cover all of the things that you would need while you are in Cape Town. So your accommodation, your meals, your local transportation, the activities that you will be doing, the optional tours. We cover all of those things. And you will be accompanied by local guides as well as United Planet staff members. I think you will have the opportunity to meet Jill. which is really, really exciting, and as well as myself. So we will be here alongside you on this amazing quest. If anybody has any questions about the quest or would like to know any further information or want to deep dive into what you're going to be experiencing, please feel free to book a Zoom call with me. And I'll be happy to walk you through all of the things that we would be offering on the quest. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Melissa. And the drum roll is the special offer that we have for Beta Gamma Sigma members is that if you enroll by December 1st in this quest, we're offering you 20% off of the program fee, which is quite significant. But we really want to make sure that Beta Gamma Sigma folks have first dibs on this because it is very focused around business immersion in South Africa, in Cape Town. And we feel like this is really a great opportunity for people who are business minded, whether it's kind of corporate business or nonprofit, sustainable development, etc. It kind of hits all of the big areas of interest for people who are business focused, international business focused people. So for the fee for the 10-day quest that Melissa just shared with you is in US dollars, $4,550 a person. But with the 20% off early bird kind of discount, if you sign up and enroll by December 1st of this year, then you would only pay $3,640 per person, which includes all of the things listed here, all of the in-country support, as well as pre-departure training and support, the 5 pillars of global leadership that we talked about, helping you get all set up and ready to go to be successful and have a great experience. Once you arrive, there's orientation. As Melissa said, local guides who speak all the local languages to help you make sure that you're having a smooth experience. There will be travel and medical insurance included in the cost, all your accommodations and meals, all the excursions and cultural activities, minus the Big 5 safari tour, which is an additional cost of $600, but that's a 3-day safari tour, really worth it. We also include in the cost all of the project coordination with the volunteer site that Melissa was sharing with you. And then we also have business workshops and other kinds of immersion about business in Cape Town. Also 24/7 in-country support, all the local transportation to and from the airport, as well as all the volunteering and excursions that you do. What's not included is airfare to and from Cape Town, any fees for visas that are incurred, any vaccinations you need, any personal spending money that you're going to spend, souvenirs you want to purchase, things like that, personal kind of miscellaneous expenses obviously are not included in the fee. But it really is kind of end to end in country, as well as helping you get set up beforehand as well. So that's the special offer. And as Melissa said, she's available to book a call and ask questions. We really want to set you up for success. I think the question had come up, what's the maximum number of people that can sign up for this and be part of it? 20 is really the cap. But we could have a little bit of fluctuation to go maybe up to 25 if really the demand is high. We don't want to turn anyone away. If it turns out that this is a super popular quest, we can do it again in another year, but no guarantees. This is the one that we're doing in 2026 for sure. That's a business immersion quest. So with that, I am going to open it up for any questions or comments that people might have about any of the things that we talked about. If you want to know about United Planet a little more, about any of us, or about the quest or the scholarships, feel free to ask. Or Matt, you can tell us what I missed in the chat because I wasn't actively managing the chat. So
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Could you share some information for people who want to contact Melissa to see if they can schedule some time to talk to her about that program?
Yeah. Are you, Melissa, able to post in the chat the scheduler so people can just reach out and find your availability and schedule a
Yes,
call with
no
you?
problem. I will
Okay,
do that
thank
right
you.
away.
That's great. Thank you so much. What else?
All right. So Lance asked, they're a fellow Thunderbird alumni. They
Woo!
wanted to ask how you were able to use your experience in your international MBA and your professional background.
All
Um,
right. Yeah. Well, Lance, welcome, fellow T-Bird. You should come to Seattle for a T-Bird Tuesday sometime. That's one thing that the Thunderbird mystique is. We call ourselves T-Birds, and we're a huge, beautiful alumni community all over the world. And we get together the first Tuesday of every month in all the major cities around the world, which is really a cool tradition. So how did my Thunderbird experience help me? I think that's what really helped set me up for success at Microsoft. So it was right after I graduated from Thunderbird that I went to Microsoft, and I leveraged really the entire MBA experience in my career at Microsoft. You know, when I was sitting in my accounting classes or sitting in my finance classes or marketing or whatever, I mean, that's the interesting thing about an MBA is you kind of go deep into all of the different areas of business. And then when you're actually living it in your business career, you pull from all of those different things and cobble together kind of your plethora of portfolio of experience. And it served me throughout my 21 years at Microsoft. But it's very much serving me now too at United Planet. And really, United Planet is the culmination of the whole thing because I'm looking end to end across the entire business from budgeting and OpEx to, you know, all the five P's of marketing to, you know, everything that I'm doing is all of my business skills utilized. So I think having an MBA is just such an amazing thing. And the Thunderbird MBA specifically, because their whole focus is on international, and it always has been from the very beginning. Before international business was a thing, that was their thing. And you know, back when I did Thunderbird, you had to be fluent in at least one other language other than English to even be considered when you're applying to the school. I don't know what the criteria are anymore. But I think that they very highly value fluency and global experience um, to get into the school and obviously afterwards, because that's what T-birds are attracted to doing.
Oh, thank you for that answer. They do have a second part here,
Oh, great.
and they're
Two-part
asking,
question.
what advice do you have uh, for a fellow alumni on how to best use their experience to stand out in the job hunt?
Yeah, I mean, it's super hard these days, right? Because so many companies have laid people off and it's highly competitive. And, you know, it's just really, I think what, you know, for anyone, not just a T-bird, but anyone who wants to stay relevant is, you know, constantly be learning, like constantly honing and improving and be aware of what's going on in the world, understand the trends in, you know, what's happening in the news, what's happening politically, what's happening economically, have your ear to the ground about what's going on and really connect the dots and think a few steps ahead. Like, what can this mean for this industry or that industry? You know, AI is the latest big thing. It was big data way back. It was the internet before that. Like, there's always some major shift, the disruptor, as they call it. But there's always some major thing that's happening that if you think like strategically into the future, what does this mean for the world? What does this mean for various populations around the world? What's the impact? And if you're thinking about that and thinking about what does that mean I need to do today to set myself up to be a leader, a changer, you know, a somebody who's ahead of the curve. You know, it's like surfing and you see the wave coming, you know when to get on your surfboard, and then you got to like have the balance and the skills, so be ready. And so that's what I would say is just keep yourself as informed as possible about what's going on in the world and think about how to connect the dots and strategize around that and capitalize on it.
Excellent advice. I have a question here. Someone was asking about the deadline for the quest. Is there a deadline for the quest to apply for that?
Usually it's a couple months before we go out the door. But I think Melissa can maybe tell us more specifically when the final drop dead date is to enroll.
So I think that the drop dead date would be by the end of June. It is really late also. So if you can apply for the quest or sign up before then, that would be really, really good in order to get you fully prepared and ready to travel.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great advice, Melissa. And also, if it books up before then,
yeah,
we only have a certain
absolutely.
number of spots. So,
Mhm.
if you're waiting till end of June and then you reach out, it might have been full by February. I don't know. Kind of these
Yeah.
things always are different in terms of how quickly they fill up. But just if it is something of interest to you, maybe check it out sooner rather than later.
Yes, and like I say, please schedule a call with me. I would be happy to talk you through all of the processes on getting signed up for all of the things that we would be doing on the quest. And like Jill has mentioned, please take advantage of the discounted offer by the 1st of December. If you enroll by the 1st of December, you qualify for that 20% discount off of the quest fee.
Yeah. And I think also one thing that, if you are thinking about it and you're curious about what is the impact, for you personally, and getting a sense of it, check out our website. If you go to unitedplanet.com/blog, you can read blogs about other groups that have traveled to various destinations that have a theme. We've done a lot of them on healthcare in Peru, for example. We did one with Ursuline College specifically that was art therapy in Nepal. And so we've got a lot of blogs and testimonials and videos from these experiences where you can actually go see what it's like and get a good sense so you know kind of what you're getting yourself into. It's really an amazing experience, life-changing. And I was just on one in Costa Rica a couple of months ago, and it was just phenomenal, the experience. And yes, Costa Rica was amazing, but it was more like the whole formula of how United Planet runs these things, that they get you deep and integrated into a community, and you feel when you walk away like this community so deeply, and you've connected at that human level, which is, it's just like if you talk to people who've gone on these, the big words that I hear over and over is how it was life changing, which is so amazing because, for me, a lot of the ones I've done, these types of global experiences have been longer term, a year in Brazil, 4 years in Paraguay, 6 months in Spain. So for somebody to go 10 days somewhere and still walk away with the same kind of takeaways that I had from these long, where they feel connected and life-changing, I just find that fascinating. It's so incredible that that can happen in that length of time. But I think United Planet, because we're so closely connected at the community local level, and we have these really strong, trusting partnerships we've been in business doing this for 24 years now, building these relationships at the local level and really connecting with local communities in a transformative way, that they're transforming our volunteers as much as we're helping in the local community. So it's a mutually transformational experience and really unforgettable.
Okay, I have another question here from Gertrude. They said they have a master's in business administration and they're wondering uh, how they can fit into any industry. And if there's
Hmm.
any sort of particular department or part of an organization that they could fit into with that MBA.
So I'm just going to assume that Gertrude is a recent grad with their MBA because that sounds kind of like a question from that angle. Since I don't know for sure, but I would just say, reflecting on when I came out of my MBA experience, my background prior to my MBA was all in nonprofit. I had been volunteering, I had been working. I worked at the American Lung Association. So these are all nonprofit. The Peace Corps is government. So it was more public sector. And I hadn't worked in, corporate or the private sector. And I hadn't really had like a specific job function like HR or operations or marketing per se. So when I transitioned out of my MBA and into Microsoft, what I leveraged to get into Microsoft was the fact that I had been an entrepreneur. I had started my own social enterprise in Paraguay, and I had helped farmers start their own businesses as well. And so I really had like this entrepreneurial spirit coming into my MBA, and coming out of it, then I had all the skills like book-wise from the MBA. And so what I did was I had the language of Portuguese. I'd had experience in Latin America. And so that's my foot in the door at Microsoft was Latin American operations. And I spoke Portuguese and Spanish fluently. I had lived there. And then I had the operational that's kind of how my brain works, is very organized in an operational way, logistics and all of that. So I just tapped into my skills and my passion and things I was interested in. And that's the first foot in the door at Microsoft. But then that was like the launch pad to get into different parts of the business. So I networked, met different people. I learned about their parts of the business, what's interesting about that, and just started to pursue everything that was kind of interesting. I was digging deeper to understand it more. And then next thing you know, I'm doing it. So I do think that it's more organic. There isn't really a formula, but I would say follow your passion and your curiosity and build positive relationships with people. And it's networking, and it's a combo of your skills and your abilities, as well as the connections that you make in those relationships that can help you.
Thank you. And yeah, Gertrude did say that they are a recent grad.
Okay, yeah, I could tell from the question. And, or it could be somebody who's transitioning from one industry to another. And that's a big leap too. And it's the same kind of formula though. When you're transitioning from one industry, from say, I went from nonprofit and government into corporate IT, like I had no computer science background or IT experience. But I understand the value of technology to change people's lives. And that's the passion. That's what I tap into. I want to help change people's lives in a positive way. What's the fastest way for them to do that? It's being an early adopter of technology and the technologies that are going to help them be successful. And so that passion and desire to help people fueled my desire to learn. Like I can tell you about data centers till your eyes start tearing. I can talk data center, cloud infrastructure, server, all of that. And that was not, anything that I was interested in until I joined Microsoft. But then I saw, wow, what's the value of a data center and cloud and, off-prem computing capabilities can help just mom and pop shop. It democratizes access. And so that for me was like the hook. I was like, oh my gosh, it's someday my farmers could have their own, web-based business. And they're coming from, they don't have running water, but they could have a cloud business. That's pretty like impressive. So even a shift from one industry to the other, if you can find the thing that hooks you in and gets your passion going, then you can get into it, even if it seems like very, very boring on the surface. So yeah, I worked in data center infrastructure and cloud, from private cloud to hybrid to public cloud, in that whole transformation that IT went through. And my husband, I mentioned earlier, is an engineer, and I wanted to apply for this job and I knew nothing about it. And I came home from work and I was like, what's a server? I got my data center 101, download at that moment. You had to explain what. And next thing you know, I'm on stage in front of like 3,000 people at a global event in Denmark. I was standing there talking about server infrastructure. So going from what's a server to presenting about it to people who are engineers in the industry, as long as you have curiosity and a desire and you really want to learn and like build your skills and sit down and study it up, and you can do it. You can do anything as long as you dedicate yourself to really doubling down and doing it. And that's the end of my TED Talk.
That's excellent advice. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and everything with our members. I have one question. So what advice would you give students aspiring to build a career that blends global business with social impact?
Well, that is my sweet spot. I
Mhm.
mean, what advice would I say? Again, everything I've said, number one, be aware of what's going on in the world. Just stay up to date on everything and really double click into understanding the history of how we got to where we are today in the world. It's really important to understand the stories and the history and the individual experiences as well as the global pulse. And I think all of that helps you to connect with people. And I would say that's the second thing. So one is be aware of what's going on in the world and really, stay up to speed on that. And two is build connections with all different kinds of people, people that you normally would engage with and people that you wouldn't normally engage with, because I think that's going to help you build your awareness and ability to connect with people. And then, I would say build your skill set too, and find what you're truly passionate about, what inspires you and what keeps you going and where do you want to make a difference. And if you're driven with your passion, it'll show. And people are attracted to people who lead with their passion and lead with their heart. They really do. And so be authentic. And I think all of that will help you to make those connections. And then if you've got the skills and the knowledge to back you up, then you're going to be set up for success, truly. I don't know if that really answered your question. I hope so, but
I think it
those are
answered it. I think it answered it. Uh, all right. I have a question here from Ellie. They're in their senior year, but they've always wanted to make a global impact. And they're really interested in the virtual quest and asked if you could speak a little bit more about the virtual quest, how the virtual quest would work, and the impact of virtual interning.
Sure, I can do a little and then I'll hand it over to if Sophia and Melissa want to add a little more to it. But we have these amazing programs, and you can check out our website and click on the section that says virtual quests. And it gives you kind of all the different countries, and we align to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So really you can kind of choose which country is most interesting to you, or which UN SDG is most inspiring for you, or you can just tell us, hey, I don't really know what country, what thing I want to do, but I've got these skills or this area of passion. I really love X, like whatever it is, helping kids, grow, or like working with animals or whatever it is. And then we will match you to that nonprofit organization in the country and set you up and for the time period. And then there's, you agree to kind of how many hours you can commit to, because we understand you have a full plate of your life and you have your own everything going on. So this isn't a full-time job. We agree on kind of how many hours, and then you meet with your host organization and agree kind of how you want to work together. And then we help support you through that whole process and make sure that things are going smoothly throughout your entire virtual quest. And at the end, you get a certificate and even a letter of recommendation if you need it for your next thing, whether it's going into your job or onto grad school or college or wherever you are in your career or your life journey. And we're there to support you all the way through end to end in that experience. I'll pause and see if Sophie or Melissa have anything they want to add to what I just shared.
You explained it perfectly. The other thing that I would like to highlight is the 80% of the work is independently. So you only need like 1 hour and 1 day per week to have this Zoom call with the supervisor, and the rest, and that day you set the goals, deadlines, next steps, and then you work in your own. So that's another great thing about virtual volunteer.
Yeah. And I think what you do too, it depends on what's exciting for you. Like if you're really into accounting and numbers, we can help set you up in that kind of role. If you're more into marketing and social media, like a lot of our nonprofits that we work with around the globe need exposure and need that kind of skill set. One of our virtual quest volunteers built a whole website for one of our organizations, and they're so grateful for that. And it's an amazing, beautiful website. And he helped them with that during his quest. So there's a lot you can do to make a positive impact through these experiences.
Comes to my mind very quick one program in Colombia that work with entrepreneurs. That's a great program, a great option too. They need a lot of help, marketing, also accounting, social media, or create this business plan. So definitely something that we can work together to find the best place.
Well, thank you very much for kind of going through that, explaining the quest a little bit more, explaining it for everyone here. I think that's going to be our last question for the day because we are running close to being out of time here. I want to thank you, Jill, Melissa, Sophia, everyone for joining us. Really appreciated your insights, your story, your passion, and yeah, and thank you to everyone who joined us on the call today. Really appreciate the questions that came through, your interactions in the chat. I know there are several T-birds out there that enjoyed the little shout out there. And yeah, we were just really excited to have you. We're excited to be partnered with United Planet and yeah.
Well, thank you, Matt, and Beta Gamma Sigma. United Planet loves partnering with you all. There's so many synergies. So I'm excited about our partnership, and I can't wait to hear from all of your Beta Gamma Sigma folks that attended the call and beyond. And I hope to see you in Cape Town, South Africa in August of next year. It's going to be really, really fun. So, and thank you, Sophia and Melissa, for all of your help on this as well.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Take
Thank
care.
you.